Ethereum is getting a lot of attention for the upcoming merge and the impact that it'll have on the blockchain. But I think that Solana may actually be a better investment for investors right now. And I want to get into why this is the blockchain that I'm betting on long term. First of all, let's look at some high level metrics about both of these blockchains. So this is Etherscan. This provides a lot of information about the Ethereum blockchain. One I want to highlight here is 12.4 transactions per second. That's how many transactions are taking place on the Ethereum blockchain right now. Now, that's extremely low. One impact on that is that Gwei, this number right here, or the cost for each transaction, has actually come down quite a bit over the last 6 months. That's good news if you're trying to use the blockchain. But the reason transaction costs are coming down is because fewer people are simply using the blockchain. I'll get more into that data in just a second, but I do want to compare this to Solana. This is SolScan. So this is similar data on the Solana blockchain. And this is the number I want to check out right here. Transactions per second, 4,800 right now. Now, this number bounces around, but typically it's somewhere between 2,000 and 4,000 transactions per second. And over time, it's actually crept up. Some upcoming upgrades to the blockchain itself indicate that we may get over 10,000 transactions per second over the next few months. Now, I won't even compare costs on the Solana blockchain because making a transaction on Solana costs a fraction of a penny. So it's not even really comparable with the Ethereum blockchain, where transactions can be a few dollars or hundreds of dollars if the blockchain is really busy. A couple of other trends that I think are interesting to look at. This is the NFT marketplace volume on Solana. So you can see that this data doesn't go back real far, but it goes back to early July. And you can see that volume is about flat on Solana. Maybe a little bit of an increase over the last couple of weeks, but generally flat. Here's what I think is really telling. Magic Eden is the biggest NFT marketplace. And you can see that right now, the average transaction in Sol is 1.3. So that's about $40 per NFT transaction. Now, this is important because if you're trying to buy a $40 NFT, if you have a $20 transaction cost, that just simply doesn't make any sense. So these lower cost NFTs are going to typically move to a blockchain like Solana. If, like me, you think that NFTs are going to provide a lot of value for things like airplane tickets or hotels or tickets to concerts, then it makes a lot of sense for those kind of transactions to take place on a very low cost blockchain. The fact that Solana is already doing an average transaction cost of about $40 and is doing over 4,000 transactions per second is really impressive. And I think that's telling about where the blockchain is going long term. Now, compare some of these numbers to OpenSea, which is the biggest NFT marketplace on Ethereum. And you can see that transaction volume has just gotten crushed over the last few months. We're down to a point where in the last 24 hours, there have only been $11 million in NFT transactions on OpenSea. That's a really big decline from the peak in late 2021 and early 2022. Now, there have been 55,000 transactions on OpenSea over the last 24 hours. So that means that the average transaction is over $200 per NFT. That's over 5x what we're looking at on Solana. And that's where the Ethereum blockchain is really moving, is these high-end NFTs where a higher transaction cost makes sense. But where is the market headed? I think it's headed toward these lower cost NFTs and greater utility from each NFT. And that's really where I think Ethereum is going to hit headwinds. So here's the question for investors. What is going to change over the next 3 to 6 months? Ethereum's merge is going to come up later in September, and that's going to move the blockchain from proof of work to proof of stake. But that isn't expected to increase the number of transactions per second or lower the cost per transaction. So I don't think fundamentally this helps the blockchain as far as making transactions more efficient or faster to compete with a blockchain like Solana. Solana, on the other hand, already has extremely low costs and is increasing that transaction speed. What we seem to be seeing is more and more developers starting on Solana and just staying there. And so if that momentum continues, that's where I think we're going to see Solana overtake Ethereum as a blockchain that people actually use on a day-to-day basis. This is where I look at the upside of these two cryptocurrencies. Right now, Ethereum has a $190 billion market cap. Solana has a market cap of about $10 billion. So when you look at where the investment upside is, I think Solana is really where the upside is for investors. It's where more and more developers are moving. And at about 1/20th of the value of Ethereum, I think this is the blockchain that has far more upside. I know that the merge is getting a lot of attention, but I think the upgrades on Solana are actually more meaningful for the long-term development of the blockchain. That's why Solana is where I'm putting my money, both on the cryptocurrency and the NFT side.